Saturday, everyone. We are continuing our grind up the arena ladder. Well, we did a little work off video, got us to Plat 2, and still climbing. We switched away from the mono red deck today. We're going to play a little Esper Control by request. This is our build. We're going to get into this one. I think Esper is still the best deck in the format. I know some arguments can be made, but I still think it has all the tools to run in this current metagame. All right, so let's give it a shot, and let's see what happens today. We're not Sphinx of Fate today. We are Esper Control today. I try not to play the Nexus of Fates decks too much. They tend to trigger your opponent almost immediately, especially when you start Nexus of Fating on turn 5. As soon as you lay the Wilderness Reclamation and untap on the next turn, you start playing Nexus of Fate, and a lot of times your opponent will just quit. And I fully understand why, because it is annoying. Oh boy. To keep this hand. I can't really do much early on, but I do have a Kaya's Wrath and a Teferi. I do have a Chemist's Insight. Normally I wouldn't keep this hand, but let's, I get to go first. Let's keep it. Let's keep it and see where it goes. I'm not going to do much early game control at all. I should be able to rip off one land in the first 3 turns, but I could be wrong. And my opponent is already playing green. This could get pretty ugly pretty fast, especially if he drops a turn 2 Steel Leaf Champion. We may never get there. Nope. Wild Growth Walker? Yep. Alrighty. Well, there we go. Now the question is, do we drop the search? If we do, we can probably more quickly get to Kaya's Wrath, wreck his team, and then take over with control. Let's just go ahead and drop the search. Let him get out his Jade Light Ranger, because I'm sure he has it. When you're playing this opponent with this deck, normally they curve out perfectly every time. Seems odd, but could they get a Thought Erasure? Nope. Okay. No problem. Well, that's not good. We may want to wait on that guy. It's funny, I was just talking about this matchup this morning. I do think Esper is a better deck. But, again, yeah, we're going to keep that. If we have to mortify the Wild Growth Walker, we will. But I would prefer to Chemist's Insight into another black source and then Kaya's Wrath with any luck. He will play the Hydroid Krasis for 2 or 3. And then we can do away with all of it. He might be greedy. He might want to wait it out. He might have more Explore cards. Either way, we're probably taking a hit. I just prefer not to take this hit right now. So I will kill that guy. We're in a pretty tough spot, because his curve is just sort of perfect. Can't use that right now as much as I would have loved to keep it, and we sort of get hosed. We got to get a black source. And there it is. So hopefully he plays a Hydroid Krasis, drops a land, plays a Hydroid Krasis. If not, it doesn't matter. we are going to Kaya's Wrath, then stick Teferi, and then start some shenanigans. Boom. All right, play another guy so I can get lots of value. Looks good. With any luck, we can draw a second Kaya's Wrath, but that's really asking for a lot. At this point, we're keeping that. We are going to drop this. How many lands we have? 6. Yeah, we're just going to do this right now. We'll hold up a negate in case he does have Vivian Reed. Although I think he's just going to play, yeah, little dudes. I think he's a little bit land screwed, to be honest. That guy certainly works. It would be nice to rip one more land off the top here with the search. We've only got 4 in the yard, so it's not flipping this turn. That actually works. I will take one more hit, I think, from the... If I even have to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't even have to. Let's play Teferi. Then we're going to Thought Erasure. Perfect. What a perfect draw. Okay. Then we're dropping this. We're going to take out another threat. We're definitely taking the Vraska's Contempt. We'll keep the Mortify on top. And you can see how in this field, this deck just starts to do work. At least that's my opinion. You know, everyone has their own opinion. You have a guy, he did get a little land screwed, so it's not a perfect run. But I do believe Esper has the advantage over this deck. Sure, I'll let you gain a life. We're going to cast down this dude so he can't swing on Teferi. We're going to keep the Mortify because now he has real trouble keeping up with us. He's basically top decking guys, and we are killing them as he plays them. So we're going to do lots of work this turn. We're going to kill his guy. We're going to Chemister's Insight. And still, we're holding up the negate for the Vivian Reed. We're just waiting on it. I know he doesn't... see? As if on cue. We're negating her. We're killing his Hydroid, and he may just quit after that. Surprised he didn't swing on Teferi, but... And I think your opponent at this point will realize they're not winning this game. We're going to keep that for future use, transform this, and that should be about it. Whoop, had a little freeze there. In fact, I don't know what he could really draw off the top. So we're going to precog main phase. We're going to scry 3. Don't need that. Definitely don't need that. And definitely don't need that. We are good on the land at this point. We are drawing 3 new cards, not 3 lands. Card is so good. Let's drop land for turn. I probably should have tapped my mana differently, but I can untap that with Teferi. Look for answers on his turn. Sometimes that gets me, the auto-tapping. I don't really pay attention to what's being auto-tapped, and it comes back to bite me in the butt. I really shouldn't do that, but I like to try and play fast games. We're going to Chemister's Insight to that. Sure. He also resolves. Again, as you can see, we're going to put our opponent in top deck mode. We're going to play the land that does not cost us life. Let's get rid of the Chupacabra. Yeah, we'll keep up the multitude of counter spells. Let's wrath away his guys. And I think that will be all, because Teferi's online. We have counter spells galore coming. We are going to use search to find our answers. And this is control in every sense of the word. You're controlling the entire game. Yeah, sure, you can draw the cards. We are going to ult Teferi on our next turn. And if our opponent does not concede here, we're pulling another absorb off the top. He does not concede. We will. Now, the question is, do we ult Teferi here? Do we ult him next turn? I just want to go ahead and ult him now to show the opponent that it's going to be very, very difficult for him to do anything from here on out. I am going to start bouncing his lands into exile. Sure, you can have him, but you can't have anybody else. We're going to absorb that one. And then at the end of your turn, we're going to look for answers. We have it. And let's just go ahead and be a true control player and say no one more time. Draw Chromium, which is really bad for the opponent. Go ahead and play Teferi. And that should really be it, I believe. I mean, if he doesn't quit, then he's just, he's having a really bad day for some reason. Sorry, Tex. Now, if the opponent doesn't believe that he's losing this game, he will surely believe it in about 30 seconds or less. I know people hate losing to Teferi, but unfortunately he's the best card in Standard. Let's just go ahead and slam this guy down. Take our turn. Put our opponent's guy in exile. Draw another card. Put our opponent's land in exile. A lot of times people won't quit to Teferi. There he goes. Because they think that you're just going to take all the turns and have no win condition. So Chromium solves that in this deck. Usually when you slam him, it's very hard to deal with him unless you have sweepers. But again, this was an Esper game. I think Esper is still the best deck in the format. Obviously, that's arguable. But I did have someone ask to show this deck in play today. That was Chip. He is a subscriber. Hey, Chip. We'll talk about this deck later today in the store, and we will keep grinding the ladder back to Mythic. Everyone have a good Saturday. And I try not to bore you with hour-long videos with 52 games. So we just played a game. We're going to get out of here, and we're going to get out and do things in the sun. Okay, Magic players? Talk to everyone later.